started it here. I wanted to end it here. And I didn't get to do it the way I wanted to. I wanted to obviously, have the fairy tale coming off the field for the last time, leave my cleats out there type of deal. But that just wasn't, when you play up in the trenches, you just don't really get. Every day is just a blessing, because it's such a physical job. But, I'm just super grateful, very emotional. I'm happy to be done with the game because, as you guys know, the injuries were just piling up. And I know my wife is very happy not to have to watch me crawl to the shower every morning and, come in and do it again and, waking up night before games, not being able to put my underwear on and stuff like it. It was just getting bad. So it was time to call it. And, I get to be a father, I get to be a husband, I get to focus on those things now. And while I was playing, my wife was building an empire, a real estate empire. So we have a ton of real estate that is, making us a ton of money, and we're doing well there. Not to brag or anything, but I'm bragging on her. She did a great job. I just did the football part. She did the hard part. I got to have fun, and she did all the work. Really, is how it went. But my daughter, she just turned 3 years old, and I get to, play with her and hang out with her, and I'm just get to relish in those moments that I wasn't around. Especially the last 2 years being in Baltimore. It was during COVID and stuff. Your family can't be around. It was tough. Get to miss a lot of time. So I'm gonna make up for that now. And as soon as I get back, as soon as I came home, my wife was like, "Here, baby." I'm like, "Okay, what do I do?" So she's good at planning things out for me and making a list for me. That's I'm a football player. Everything's got to be scheduled out for me, or else who knows what's going to happen. So she does a great job of keeping me on track. So I'm really grateful for that, and grateful for the opportunity to stand up here and talk to you guys and express my gratitude towards the organization and the city and the fans. And I had a lot of great times here. Played a lot of good football. Won a lot of games. Won a Super Bowl. What else you guys got?
Derek, what did it mean to you to break the team down, and what kind of wisdom did you try to share with them?
Well, I got to use some profanity. That was fun. I miss doing that stuff. I miss being around the guys. That's the one thing I do miss. I don't miss the physicality of the game. I do miss being around the guys and getting to talk to them and spread knowledge to guys. But I told him, I said, look, you guys finally got the piece that we've been missing, and that's Russell Wilson. I said, follow his lead. He knows what he's doing, and just embrace every day and appreciate all the time. Don't take anything for granted out here. The training camp, it's easy to get complacent because you're just like, man, this sucks. It's hot, my body hurts, my feet hurt, my shoes are soggy. It's just all these different things that you can complain about. And looking back on the things that I used to complain about, it's like, that wasn't really a big deal. It's just being healthy is a blessing. So it's just every day that you're healthy, just be happy about it, and enjoy it, because we're the 1% of the world that can do this. So you need to just be thankful and grateful and do everything you can. Don't waste any time. Don't waste time, some great coach told me once, Lauren Landau. He said, don't sacrifice what you want the most for what you want right now. So, that's something I tell my kids that. My wife will tell you I'm like the king of one-liners. So I always have a one-liner for my kids, and they're always like, yeah, whatever, Dad.
Derek, given 2013 when they had to pull you off the bus, you were sick, at about the low moment, and do you reflect on that moment now and how much of a career you had after that?
Yeah, and that's that goes back to what I was talking about, being grateful. That could have ended. I had a great rookie season, and then I trained really hard for that second season, and then it was all almost taken away from me. And I wasn't in a place financially where I was going to be taking care of the rest of my life if that happened. So it would have been a miserable existence for me, that regret and everything, living with that. But I was able to battle back from that and show some resolve, and it just, I think everything I went through my life kind of prepared me for moments like that. It was just like I might be down, but I'm never out. And it's kind of the same thing now. It's like, people are like, oh, it's sad you're retiring. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just a new beginning. I get to start something new now. And I focused so much energy on football that now I can focus on other things, right? It's focus on being a husband, focus on being a wife, focus on being a husband to my wife, focus on being a father to my kids. Sorry, I don't know where that came from, but that 2013 it was such a surreal moment because I was paralyzed in Seattle. For 3 hours, I couldn't feel anything from my nose down. And then that started coming back, and I was back on the field 2 weeks later, which that was my decision to do. And it was like, maybe you shouldn't, but they couldn't give me a straight answer on if something was really wrong. It turns out I wasn't getting fresh blood in my brain. So then I had a seizure 12 weeks after that on a bus getting ready to go to the airport. And that almost killed me. My heart rate was down to 12 to 16 beats a minute. Almost went into cardiac arrest. They had to induce a coma. And I woke up, and the first thing I said was, are we in Kansas City? Can I play? Like, that just shows you where my head was at. Like, all that mattered was, can I play? Can I play? Can I play? Because, I was running from my past, Well, I don't have to run anymore. I did all that work, and the work is done, and I get to enjoy it, right? And I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And hopefully I get to be around the guys a little bit more, come out here and a different aspect. I want to get into doing some media and some radio and stuff like that. And spending time with my family, really. It's little things like taking the kids to school and things that I didn't get to do before, because I was focused on, like I said, I was focused on football. That was all I really cared about, And now it's like there's a whole other world that opened up to me. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Derek, with the emotions when you walk in this building, what kind of comes back? Is it the Super Bowl 50? Is it fighting Vaughn for those sacks? What kind of memories is it?
It's the locker room, just messing around in the locker room with the guys, just having fun. I'm trying to do everything I can not to cuss. So it sounds like I'm taking a minute to respond to this because I'm trying not to cuss. So it's been a while since I've been on doing any media. So, but yeah, I just being in the locker room, like before practice, listening to music, goofing around, getting done with practice, coming back in, it's not that's the thing about football is the camaraderie, right? It's not so much the things that happen on the field. It's more about like the relationships I built in the locker room with those guys that I'll miss, So it's that brotherhood it's hard to find that anywhere else, what other job can you go to where it's like, oh, I'm pissed at this guy today, so we're gonna fight in practice. You don't get you guys can't do it. You guys can't fight each other after you leave here. You go to jail. Out here, you get to assault people, and it's great. I do miss that a little bit.
Who are
being able to assault people for a job? It was my job to just manhandle people and tackle people and stuff. It was fun. And I had a lot of fun doing it, and I will miss that. But I'm really grateful for the time I had. And I'm really grateful for this organization for giving me this opportunity.
What made that 2015 defense so special?
I would say the camaraderie was, and the talent, right? You can't overlook the talent, right? We had so much talent. Being able to take all that talent and put the egos aside and put it towards one goal, it's so difficult to do because we had a lot of guys going into contract years. And a lot of guys could have been like, forget about the team. I'm worried about myself. But that didn't happen. We were all focused on winning a Super Bowl, and that's all we cared about. We had guys like DeMarcus Ware and Peyton Manning who we wanted to get a ring on their finger, and we did it, and it happened. And nobody could take that away from us. And Steve was giving me a hard time. Right? He's like, "You're not wearing your ring," and I was like, "You know why? It's because after I got that ring, I just like put it away and was like, don't worry, I'll have more. I'll get more." And that shows you like you can't take it for granted because I didn't even get close again. I tried so hard to get close again, but it just never happened. It takes so much to make it happen, and it just, it's a surreal moment when you win it, and then you're like, okay, let's do it again. You don't even get to live in that moment really. So if there's one thing that I wish I could do is go back and live in that moment again, and actually stop looking in the future so much and just live in that moment, because I didn't really live in it. I just was like, move on to the next. Let's go to the next one, and obviously it never happened. So.
Who are some of the people, coaches, teammates, etc., who had the influence on you that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life coming out of football?
Well, I mean, the number one influence on my career was Bill Kollar. I was already playing good football, and he like changed my game completely as far as like the confidence that he instilled in me, and he took me and like molded me into the player that he was like, I know you can be better than that. I know you could do better. Like you got to do better. And it's just he's just such a we're great friends still. And he's I'm forever grateful for Bill. And I wish I would have had him from day one, because who knows what else could happen. But I am grateful for the times that I had with him and the coaching that he gave me, because he was one of the most demanding coaches I ever had. But also, when you did make a play, he was just as fired up as you were. And that was special. I had a great defensive line coach in college named Steve Stripling. I had a head coach in college named Butch Jones, who chased me around the bullhorn screaming and yelling at me and calling me lazy. You know, if I wasn't sprinting to the ball every play, run to the ball, do a hit, do an up down, and then get back to the huddle and do it again. You know, and if I got in a fight in practice, and made me run gassers, stuff like that. He was just. I had coaches. You know, John Fox was a great coach. He was a great influence on me at a young age. Gary Kubiak, awesome coach. Wade Phillips. I mean, that guy did nothing but boost our confidence as a team. The whole team boosted our confidence. I'm forever grateful for coaches like that because they're so, you'd think I'd pick like a little league coach or a high school coach. No, it wasn't. I had great coaches then too, but it wasn't the impact that I had as an adult in my adult life that these coaches had. And most of those coaches were here in Denver.
Derek, you mentioned this team just needs to follow Russell. On the defensive side, do they need those personalities or that swagger that you or Chris or Talib had on that defense?
Yeah, and they got the pieces to do it. You got a guy like Justin Simmons. He does everything right. He's a true professional, and he's the same guy every day. So that's the kind of guy. If I'm a young player, I'm looking up to guys like him. I'm looking up to guys like Chubb. I'm looking up. Those are the guys I'm looking at because they do it right and they do things the right way. They want to win. So that's the. If I was to give advice to a young player, it's to when you walk into this building, find a guy who is doing it right. Follow him. When I walked in this building as a rookie, I saw Elvis Dumerville, and that's who I followed. Whatever Elvis said to do, I did it. I remember, just to give you a little throwback here, we were getting ready to play the Steelers in that first game, and Elvis was like, come on, we're going to do a workout after practice. I said, okay. So wherever they're doing like a dumbbell complex, and I got a 60-pound dumbbells in my hand, and I'm dog tired, and I hit myself in the face with them. And I had to get stitches on both of my eyeballs. I had stitches right here in that first game against the Steelers. And it was like, everybody was like, all right, we got to chill him out. Like, this kind of guy, we got to tell him to slow down. We don't have to push him too hard. He'll go. So but Elvis was like the perfect vet to look up to. He did everything right. And he was a baller. And, he was a great leader. So, those are the kind of guys I looked up to. And I tried to be that guy as much as I possibly could. Sometimes I would let my emotions get the best of me and go off on people, but I tried to do everything right, try to be a true professional. Peyton Manning was another guy that used to come and sit down, have breakfast with me, and I would just pick his brain, because who better to learn from than the sheriff? He's going to teach you everything that you need to know.
Derek, how much will you miss the fans? What was it like walking in front of the crowd?
That's the first time a tear fell from my eye was when I started walking. My wife was like, "How come I'm the only one crying?" I was like, I don't know, but then when I was walking with my daughter through there, and they were all clapping for me, yelling for me, it was like tears of joy, not sadness. It was very, very happy and thankful and grateful, and it just reinstilled the reason why I love this city so much. It's them, it's the fans. They're the greatest fans in the world. There's no fans that, they stick by you no matter what. And, ride or die fans for sure, and I'll forever be grateful.
Derek, other than Super Bowl 50, do you have a favorite single moment in your decade-long career that sticks out?
I would say, that Super Bowl just, everything after that was like lackluster, So I would say that Super Bowl, that whole season, being able to be a part of something like that was really special. All the plays that were made and all the games that we should have lost and we won just because we were playing harder than the other team. It was just that I can't really think of a moment that surpasses that.
You talk about finding those right guys and following them. Draymond Jones appears to be one of those right guys.
Absolutely.
What's your perspective on him watching him as one of his peers these last few seasons?
Well, I liked him his rookie year. I thought he had the ability. And this is the first time I've been to see him face to face in probably 2 years. And I was like, oh, you put some weight on. You look good. But when I say weight, I mean muscle. He looks good. He could already move, and he already had the ability. Now I think you're going to see him step his game up, especially in year 4. This is when you start seeing guys really come into their own. And I think he's going to have it. I think he's got what it takes. So he's one of those guys that you could look up to for sure. He knows how to win. He won championships. He's won championships before. He's been a part of championship teams, so he knows what he's doing.
Hey, Derek, Bond's always quick to credit you for, he always says half his sacks, but where do you put him in your career and what he meant to you as a player?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Bond?
Yeah, what about him?
Bond's always credited you with half his sacks. Where do you
Von
put
Miller's
him
a
in
freak.
your,
Von Miller's a freak athlete, dude. It doesn't matter what. if you give Vaughn a one-on-one, he's going to win 9 out of 10. So, you know.
You're here today. How close do you want to be with this team and organization moving forward?
Really close. Yeah. I was just talking to Patrick about that I would like to, in any capacity. As far as, if I would come out, help with the D-line, do some media. Like I said, I would love to do some media. I just felt like I was always naturally, good at that. And I always try to keep it real with everybody. And that's just kind of my personality is I'm going to keep it real with you. And it's fun to me. So I love being around the building. I still have a close relationship with all of the coaches around here. And hopefully I build enough respect around my game, the way I played the game, that other players will look up to that, so I can give them guidance in that. And so I would love to be in this building as much as I possibly can.
You've had different coaches, but Coach Hackett seems to be as welcoming to any former player, especially former Bronco, as any coach that we've seen around here. So how nice is that? Obviously him letting you address the team, that he has the doors wide open to former players.
Yeah, and that's what he told me. He said, listen, I was like, listen, I live right down the street. He's like, you can come here any day you want. And I said, you might get sick of me. It might be finding reasons just to slip over here, So, but I do. I love being in this building. I have so many great memories in this building, and just walking around earlier today, I was just like, man, I miss being here. I do. I miss being in this building. And I missed it the 2 years I was in Baltimore. As great of an organization as Baltimore was, I still, it just didn't feel the same to me because I had built the relationships that I've built here. Guys like Brian Snyder, who you would never even think about, but as soon as I see him, we start busting each other's chops right away. It's because he was making our protein shakes every day, and I was telling him how terrible they were, and really they're awesome. And he's just just the guys you see around, Vinny in the training room, and all the media guys that I got to give a hard time. They were chasing me around to do this interview, that interview, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So, but now I'm like, oh please, I'd love it. But it was nice to catch up with the guys I haven't seen in a couple of years, because I didn't really I was injured leaving, so it was like I left straight out of here and went it was COVID, so then nobody could come around, so it was tough. I didn't even get to say goodbye to everybody, so and now I'm just saying hello again, and I'll be here. I'll be around. You guys will get sick of me soon.
You told us when you got drafted, you got to a point where you were down to $7 to your name.
Yeah.
Would that kid believe where you are right now?
Listen, if you offered me this deal when I was at 21 years old, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. No questions asked. I would have done whatever you said. So, yeah, I would have. My wildest dreams, I would have never imagined that I'd be in this position. Because I had confidence issues when I was a young player. Like, I always knew that I had it, but I just was like, I was a small town guy that, that's just how it goes sometimes being from a small town. Your confidence is like, well, this guy went to this school or that school. And, but I never let that hold me back. And, I'm really thankful for where I am. I am super grateful and very lucky and very blessed.